Hello everyone, welcome to day 21 of the Gym Tang 30-day challenge. It's starting to settle in that we're significantly closer to over than actually still continuing the challenge. So I'm like, wow. But bottom line is, it's been enjoyable, like thoroughly. And I don't think I'm gonna upload every day or upload nearly as much as I do. But every time you feel that inspiration hit and you're following that momentum, like I haven't actually had a day where I was like really tired and I just didn't feel like posting. It's felt significantly easier to just continue to post than to just give up. But yeah, it's been nice, like genuinely enjoyable. I finally started another video. I made it more of a shit post, to be frank, but on my other channel, gaming channel, I actually uploaded a clip from me in senior year. And wow, it's just weird to look back and see how much you've changed as an individual. And that's why it's nice to document. There's people who believe that you can't be in the moment of something. So to take a picture or to capture it is to be out of the moment. It's like, oh, you weren't enjoying, you weren't there. But it's nice to have the documentation, like proof that you lived. So always something that's just fun. But yeah, just experiencing making a video and not loving it because I honestly put more heart and soul into my gaming videos than I clearly do these rants. But that's why the reason why I made a rant channel is because I wanted to post. I wanted to put something out there, but I didn't want to have that pressure on myself to do well and to perform. It's the same thing like when you make a Smurf on a video game and you're a terrible person and the people suck, but you get to experience people sucking, so you can just not worry about having to actually have that pressure of performing and playing at the level where you might make mistakes and actually cost other people the game because you're on a Smurf and you're significantly better than the people around you. I don't know. But my views on that have changed as I've grown. But yeah, it's weird. Anyways, speaking of competition, I went to a hackathon today. And it was really weird because the reason I go to hackathons instead of just making personal projects is one, I like the idea of competing. I'm not a good competitive programmer by any means. I vibe code for sure, but I do like the idea of your ideation and your execution being judged, like somebody's reviewing it. And I didn't win, of course. Otherwise, I'd be glazing myself. But it was still an enjoyable experience to go to. You know, if I realizing that I'm not gonna win, uh, had that sudden realization when I was an hour in and I didn't have anything set up. I decided to just start eating more pizza and start stealing energy drinks. I'm like, I'm gonna get my money's worth somehow. I'm here for 3 hours. Let's get like $51 worth of stuff. And I ate like half a pizza, which was probably about $40 because it's San Francisco and it's just terrible. But yeah, it just reminds me that even though I am managing a lot of people and I do a lot of presentations, I haven't gotten over context or making my own opportunities. I like very curated events where you know you're supposed to talk to people, and I know that there's a designated position that I have, a designated position that other people have, and I don't like that open-endedness of typical networking where you don't know who you're supposed to talk to, you don't know if somebody wants to be approached and be talked to, and you could argue that since so you're in a public environment, you're open to being talked to, but that's just not how I was raised, you know? If someone's walking fast and just trying to go about their day, like, I don't want to bother them because they clearly have somewhere to be, even if they don't, you know? And when you go to a hackathon, it's implicit that you're supposed to be social and actually meet the people around you, but especially in computer science, it's just not the reality. And those conversations, they hurt me. They hurt me physically to do them. There's a creator I really like there. I talk about him sometimes, Baxade Carter, and he was there. And I was like, oh wow, this person that I know, like I can actually see them and talk to them, and I didn't. And I could beat myself up for it, but I'm like, I just really didn't want to in the moment. I'm like, he's super cool, and that's exactly why I don't want to talk to him. It's intimidating, and also like just I didn't know what I to say. I'm like, I love your content. You're the reason I'm here. I'm like, but you know, but like everyone says that. I'm like, he doesn't need to hear it from me, and he probably wouldn't even care. And he's obligated to pretend to care as he's a representative of Nvidia and an Nvidia employee. So yeah, it was just something to think about. But bottom line is, it was a good time. Nah, computing is good. It's good to have competition, and that was a friendly reminder to myself that even if you don't win anything, that doesn't mean it was a wasted experience. I served my own means. I made I just automated some of the work that I do. I work as a teacher. I automated my curriculum development and uh, my audience, my speaker notes, all that stuff, just for me, and it works, and that made me happy. Because last time I went to a hackathon, it didn't work, and I was pissed. And I was supposed to be working in a team, and one of the teammates they didn't even show up. So, yeah, things things have changed for sure. But also, if you want my tips from that hackathon, the legalese stuff worked very well. There was a terms of service ranker, and there was also I actually know these people from SCE. They got first place. Shout out. Excuse me, but they made this thing called Jury, and it would fill out your legal documents for you, help you set up any startup stuff that you had to do. So any documents that you need to either give people for onboarding or also for just creating your startup in general. And then they had a really cool part, which was simulations. They refer to it as like Doctor Strange, where there's all these possible things that could happen to your business or to you as an individual, and then they would simulate if it happened, what would happen. Like the best case scenario, the worst case scenario, what is most likely to actually happen, and the consequences, like your potential routes after that if you followed up and acted in certain ways. And that was very cool. And they rightfully earned first place, but I talked to them, and they're freshmen. I'm like, what? I'm like, you're 19 and going into sophomore year? They're like, yeah. I'm like, what? So that is to say that even though I just talked about like smurfing, I didn't mean that in like age. You can do cool stuff at any age. As a kid, I hated getting talked down to. I didn't like the schooling system because it's lazy. The reason that schools hold you back in terms of not wanting you to overload on a lot of like AP credits, for example, or honors, is they don't want you to fail, because they want everybody to get straight A's, because they can report straight A's. They can report that even though the students themselves have to study, that the environment that we have them in means that they're going to get straight A's, and every parent loves that shit. And it gets rewarded too with the quote unquote perfection that colleges see a lot of success, but you don't get success by being perfect. You get success by making a bunch of failures, and then you become perfect. But you have to take risks to gain something, to gain advantage. And high school doesn't prepare you well for that. You want to learn a lot of info, you want to be ahead, you want to get your degree in 2 years, like take college courses and push yourself. And you might not get straight A's. Like if you do get straight A's first time, like great job, you're really smart, but it's very possible that you're just not going to get straight A's. And if you put yourself in that environment and you push yourself, you're most likely going to get more credits and going to learn more information in a shorter time frame when your brain is more malleable and you absorb information really well, and set yourself up even better for life later, where you can break into the corporate market at 20, which is crazy stuff. So, yeah. Thinking about career, because I actually did a career-oriented event today. But, yeah. I also slept very well, and I spent some time with the research. I was in the car. It was funny. They thought I was driving. And we're completely pivoting, and it's okay. But it's just weird that, Tim was like, I feel like we didn't get as much work done as we were supposed to. Like, no. I've been working 12, 20 hours every single week on this research proposal, because I had to completely overhaul it. Like, the plan has been almost the same the entire time, but the reason we're doing the plan, it kept on changing. And taking a very vague idea and actually putting something specific on it, like, oh, there's these sources aren't very good, and I'm not sure how this actually supports this, but I'm not going to, actually give you any constructive feedback, like something I can work with. Like, no, you're just going to have to fix all these problems. And that is a more difficult ask, and it takes more time than if you just said, hey, this plan doesn't really make any sense because the percentages don't add up, or the timetable, I don't think we're going to be able to actually fit in, and we need to downscale the model. And then looking into different models, now I have a direction. But my teammates didn't do that for me, which sucked. And I frankly crashed out over it. I'm like, no, I did spend a lot of time on this. And no, you guys didn't verify or validate anything that I said at all. But no, I finally made it so that you don't have to do that. And it's well formatted, and it's well constructed, and it's well versed, and everything's explained, and everything has citations, and everything has references. And I personally did lit review, and then I personally reviewed every single part of the proposal, so none of it is machine generated anymore. Even if it was heavily machine inspired, I should say. That there's like words that are still generated from the machine, but me as an individual verified and wrote over everything. Now it's all written by a human. Now I can explain every single part of it. Now we all have references. And now we're throwing it in the trash to make something easier. And then, this is a personal pet peeve, but it makes perfect sense. My original proposal was too complicated. We're doing too many things. My new proposal, they got mad at me for it being too simple. It's like, I don't think this is worth research. If it's new, if it's novel, it's a research. And that's just an objective thing. Like, who cares if it's not super sophisticated? Like, I gave you super sophisticated and you didn't like it. And I gave you super simple and you didn't like it either. I'm like, no, screw you. Anyways, I know that's not how it works. But I was unhappy. Alright, see ya.